All right, you guys, Ralph Havens here, physical therapist at Beyond Limits Physical Therapy in Bellingham, Washington. And I'm with my longtime friend, teacher, mentor, Dr. Tom Gimateo, chiropractor, physical therapist, naturopath, and co-developer of integrative manual therapy. And today we're talking about, and he worked with the 1996 Olympic team as the team physician. Today we're going to talk about some things, some supplements that we've been hearing a lot about. And so Dr. Tom, thank you for being here. I'm excited to ask you a bunch of stuff about bicarb and some of these other things that the elite runners are taking these days, and just get your viewpoint on it. I know you've got your own supplements that also help.
Right.
So thanks a lot for being here.
Okay, thank you, Ralph.
Yeah, so let's go right to the one that's the hottest one right now, and it's bicarb, and so baking soda. But athletes are using it, and they used to get a lot of stomach issues and all sorts of stuff. Well, there's a company called Martens that has a buffered one that doesn't cause the GI distress, and the runners are tolerating it better. And they're saying how 400 meter, 800 meter, 1500 meter runners, maybe a little over that, are getting this big boost, and the times are getting very, very fast, and people seem to be less affected by that lactic acid buildup in the last 100 meters of, say, an 800 meter race. What are your thoughts on bicarb and athletes? And is it safe? Is it there's even high school kids using it. What do you think of bicarb?
Well, it's a natural source, and it's basic chemistry. If you neutralize lactic acid, right, is an acid side of things, and the bicarbonate brings a basic neutrality to that. So it helps disperse the processes. If you do have a good nutritional background and you're not eating junk on the side like McDonald's every day, or you keeping a clean system,
Yeah.
um, it will positively keep the lactic acid down a little bit further, because you have a reservoir of it at the same time. So it can do that, but it can be harmful. Back maybe 10 years ago, creatine
Yeah, I
was,
remember. I remember. You guys had us all on creatine for a while. I was like turned up. I was really turned up.
and that, and still bodybuilders use it. And the creatine we used really went to the muscle and helped the ATP enzymes transfer, kick over that turnover. And then some creatine was, if you didn't have good kidney function, can actually cause kidney disease at the other side of it. So
Right.
it's this play of how healthy do you do it? When do you do it? Are you um, healthy enough to do it? So
When
I
you had
would,
a creatine many years ago, I was used to drinking coffee before runs, and it felt like a super coffee effect, and I had to really consider like how much coffee to actually drink before a run, because I was already turned up. It made my running feel very good, but man,
right.
was I turned up.
But we did a very long research, and the manufacturer that we did was creatine A, and it didn't hurt the kidneys, right? Our specialty with it was to help spinal cords to grow muscles, and the side effect was for sports, it would really soup you up.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the creatine that's in the power drinks, like Bang or Star or all these pieces, don't do the same thing. So all creatine's not created the same to begin with, right? So here's my warning sign that I feel that people should be aware of. And when you're playing biochemistry on the side, if you have these problems, maybe you shouldn't be playing as hard, right? So
Okay.
one of them is if you have allergies, seasonal allergies. Another one would be even exercise-induced asthma, or asthma to other things like cats, dogs, and other things like that. Third would be if you suffer from rashes and eczema. Okay. And the last is having menstrual symptoms if you're a woman. And guys are big and stupid. They can't figure this one out. But when a woman's in menstruation and she's having cramping or acne or mood swings, all those in Chinese medicine are indications that we have a poor or insufficient detox system in our body. Okay. And
Yeah.
actually 5 minutes ago, I have a client that graduated college from New Zealand and came over to New York City and tried to do his internship. And he basically said he got here and got sick immediately, got the flu. And if we looked at his history, he had a little sniffles in New Zealand, but when he got here, the smell and the toxins of New York really overwhelmed him during that
Yeah.
time. So the things that we consider normal that you go to your drugstore, CVS or Walgreens for to compensate for are really stressors on the liver and kidney, right? And in our nutritional programs, we go back and we build the house first,
Got
right?
to make the liver and kidneys live in a good house.
So, right. So yes, you will get the effect, but if your liver and kidneys are slightly overused and you turbocharge it with baking soda or creatine or anything, or super sugars that the runners use to get the boost and stuff, instead of having a nice carbo load beforehand and being sustainable, you're burning the edges of your of your of your vessel. It may be good once or twice, but then eventually that boost goes away. That means that it was a little bit positive, but it can also hurt at the same time. So
Yeah.
restate this is, yes, the baking soda thing will work and actually help you detox your lactic acid so that doesn't build up faster. But I'd also be worried that if you have any of the other things I listed about rashes or asthma or those pieces, then that turbocharge is like having a car with only 3 wheels and just putting a jet pack on it, and how
That's
much is
so
it going
cool.
to rattle the other things away, right? So
Oh, so that's interesting because I do know one world-class guy made the Olympic team in the middle distance events last Paris Olympics, and he is known for talking about how his nutritionist says that all sugar is equal, and so he has preservatives with all sorts of other stuff in it, and Minute Maid lemonade, and all these just very off the shelf with lots of chemical junk food to refuel himself. So that's an
yeah,
interesting. So the bicarb is relatively safe if you use it a little bit, but if you're dealing with some of these conditions, if your liver, for us, we would see that the liver and kidneys maybe aren't doing as well, and the house of the liver and kidney needs work to optimize that so that you're not just doing it with a system that can't handle it. But it can be relatively safe in for short times, like say races and stuff. Some of the athletes are saying they even use it for hard workouts. For in that case, you would definitely want to be very optimized in your function of your.
well, understand, yeah, you're getting better performance out of the body, but you want to be careful that you're not blowing out on the other side.
Is it a danger to just ruin a career? Like you just blow everything out like you said, and you may have a good time for a while, but you really crash and you don't have the long-term.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is what are it's a natural process and you're just uploading the bicarbonate in there, which will help this process. But if you have a strained system, it could possibly do it. And we have secret tools, Ralph. We have the pulse and the motility
Right.
diagnostics to help out to make sure that we're not stressing those organs at the same
And
time.
I did do, they have it at the running store. We love Fairhaven Runners and Walkers here, a block away here in Fairhaven, and great running store. And I noticed they have the Martin's bicarb sitting there. So I tested it just on my thymus gland, and it tested very well. I didn't test it on bin and didn't test it on liver and kidney, and I'm going to go back and test it like that, just to kind of play with it and see it,
Yep.
use it as a little tester. So yeah, we have a way to see, does this person's body like this thing or
Right.
not?
And it's something that was around before and it's now coming back, right?
Yeah, yeah. Used to be,
Pepto-Bismol, but there was bicarbonate drinks that people used to drink to help settle their stomachs and everything else.
yeah.
Whole process. So it's a new generation and it's an old tool that's coming back into. So
Yeah,
I think
the middle distance runners have seemed to find it and talking about it. And so let's go through some other ones then. So there's bicarb. It sounds like it's relatively safe. It's a natural product in your body that you can add, it's in your diet. And but be careful with it if you're going to use it long term and more consistently. And there's a way to test it. Like reach out to me and Tom, and we can guide you through that, show you the motility testing, and also just work on you to make it where you can handle that stuff. What about, I love, we do beet kvass, so beet juice, fermented beet juice. And there's so much good information about how that's good for nitric oxide and the blood vessels and oxygen. What do I know you love beets and beet juice. Talk to us a little bit about beet juice, especially fermented beet juice as a supplement that can help performance for a runner.
it brings up the nitric oxide, like you said, and that's again with our poorer diets in American style, we're lacking the capability of doing that. Beets have always been shown for cardiovascular pieces. They help clean out the pipes that keep inflammation down in the body at the same time. And this nitric oxide is something that we should have in our bodies. And when we were farming and we were eating green vegetables every day and having not preservatives in it, we were able to produce more of that whole process. So the more processed food we eat again is causing that whole thing to go down. So substituting with beets, it's a little more natural than the bicarbonate process. So the fresher that you can get your beet, you're cooking it would be ideal in the scene. But the beet powders are wonderful too. And you got to be worried when they're putting the color dyes in them and the additives sometimes. So you want to stay as natural as you can, but we also have the pharmaceutical companies not liking it because it actually helps resolve the cholesterol pieces at the same time in a more natural way. So beets are good, and they do help with cardiovascular pieces. And runners are the optimal users of their cardiovascular system. So whatever you can do to do that will
Yeah.
whole process. So
We like it a lot. And so is it something, we do it every day as long as, sometimes I have to, I'm behind on fermenting it, but then we get it from the store, the beet kvass, the fermented beet juice. We do it every day. Is it something that like a few hours before an actual event would be useful, or is it just like a lifestyle
I would say probably an hour beforehand, hitting that up, that would
will help? Okay.
go into the digestive system and everything else at the same time. Yeah.
And sometimes it's like you got to really play with, like, if you do too many different things at one time, your belly might not like it. So you got to be
Right.
careful. Because I know I love drinking coffee before I run, and within an hour before I run. And I know many runners before races will use coffee. So, but if you start adding too many things at one time, it could be an issue.
Yes.
What about tart cherry juice? I've been hearing about that, and Ben really wants to give that a try. It sounds good. What is that all about?
It has many different properties. It helps, especially with gallstones and kidney stones, tart cherry juice. And it's again getting that balance back in the body. So it will help in an athlete get the oxygen pathways turbocharged at the same time.
And so
Because you
just a
want
little bit, like like an ounce a day, or just here and
um
there?
yeah, an ounce of beet tart cherry juice would be better if it's but that's not regular cherries, it's tart cherry juice that
Yeah, yeah.
it's a different it has a lot of antioxidants in it and brings up the oxygen pathways and everything else in there.
So
So
you use it kind of like the beet juice, just a little bit every day at another time of day or something.
right. Ideally that would be, and then that would also be something you could sip along the way, put it in a water bottle. It should actually keep your endurance up a little bit more too. You know,
Oh, so put it into your water when you're running or just during the day. Oh, I like that. I haven't tried that one yet. And then you've talked about creatine. So creatine, is it something you recommend for runners, or is it a supplement that you said is it, you have to be careful with the kidney thing, so you've got to make sure you're healthy enough, but is that a thing?
um, I feel it's acceptable and people are using it, but you could be really burned out on it at the same time pretty quickly. You know,
Yeah,
people
it did seem like it affected me in a ramping me up kind of way.
right, but it also overuse can really mess up your kidneys pretty quickly.
So
Right?
yeah, it's not one that's recommended, like unless you're seeing somebody that can check that sort of thing out.
Yeah, again, bodybuilders use it to get a better burn on a maximum, but truthfully, the GI regen and the tribulus that's in the GI regen is a natural creatine producer. So I would,
Oh, interesting.
and it, you know, we're stepping away, we're trying to manufacture what nature does, right? So herbs are much better than single elements in the body.
Yeah. And
So I talk about, the history of vitamins. We can do this really quickly, but vitamins really didn't come into effect until after World War II, when they had to deactivate the bombs and take the nitrogen and they used it in the fertilizer. So if you up the nitrogen that the plant's going to take out of the earth, then the plant needs just as much zinc. If it gets used to get from the earth 5 units of nitrogen, one zinc, one calcium, and now that you bring the nitrogen up to 10, it's still looking for the equivalent zinc and the calcium out of it. So now you're depleting the soils of the other things. Before we used to have lots of herbs that used to help us, and now we're trying to do vitamin direct processes. The other thing is that not religious, but God made the perfect food. So when you got vitamin C out of an orange, there are a lot of cofactors. It's not just ascorbic acid. So if we found that people taking synthetic ascorbic acid are actually depleting the other side of themselves because they didn't get all the cofactors that are there. So when you're getting it in a vegetable or plant or animal form, it has all the background notes to it. When you're just
yeah,
when you're just doing ascorbic acid, then you deplete the other factors and you can have a deficiency afterwards of those
and
pieces.
that's when talking with you about this sort of thing in the past, it's when I quit putting that teeny bit of vitamin C in my water every morning, because I thought, well, I already get fermented sauerkraut and all
Right.
these fermented products, vegetables that have vitamin C. So yeah, I stopped.
And I believe that I want to make the body work to take the vitamin C out of an orange instead of the body saying, "Oh, we already got our vitamin C," and it gets lazy. It's almost like wearing a weight belt all the time on your diet at the same time. So I
Yeah,
don't really like multiple vitamins, and with people, if I get them absorbing with the right food, sometimes I'll use 1 or 2 bottles of multiple vitamins to upregulate them, and then I'll take it away because I want them to crave the food more. Or
yeah,
I'll definitely change bottles, and that's been shown in a lot of multi-level marketing drinks and everything that people have had. Is that they really feel good on that, and eventually a year later they're starting to feel cruddy again. Is because well, they their body's getting lazy and doesn't want that thing anymore, right? And so it shuts it.
yeah. So there's a way to test it. We have a way to test it and see how your
Yep.
body's like in the moment.
Yeah,
Um,
all my patients, I try to take them off 1 or 2 months through the process if there's something that they really need, or I change it so that they have a different flavor. So I'm challenging the digestive system um, to have it, you know, educate it better.
yeah. And then you mentioned GI regen. It's tribulus and cranberry complex and the xylanase and
Ashwagandha,
and ashwagandha. Yeah, ashwagandha.
right?
So some really powerful herbs. And
And I use that pre-workout for clients. They'll take 1.5 hours before they start their workout. In my marathon runners, I have them take one every 2 miles of their run, and the wall gets very far. That they don't
that's,
eat. Sometimes they don't hit the wall with that
yeah.
as
I'm
a
working
tool.
with more and more runners, and that'll be very fun to test with people that test themselves on a regular basis. They know the paces and speeds that they're currently running, and they can tell when there's something that improves that. So that'll be fun to test. I wonder what the effect of that is compared to bicarb. That might be a very interesting thing to see how much of a boost you get from GI regen. And then
Yeah.
calcium lactate, you've talked about that before too. That's a supplement that you have at IMT Wellness, and that helps with performance as well, right?
Well, that helps with the muscle exchange. It helps with the quality of the contraction of the muscle. And it has a 2-to-1 ratio with magnesium in it for good firing. So when leg cramps come in valves, it's probably 40 to 60% helps that person with leg cramps.
So that could be good for restless leg syndrome too, I suppose.
Or absolutely for restless leg syndrome,
Okay.
right?
I'm going to recommend that to somebody.
Right. And so even menstrual cramps, the cramping that women get spontaneously with cramping is a deficiency of calcium.
Nice. And I'm going to put the links below for the GI regen. I know I made a pretty link for one of them, ralphhavens.com/GI regen. That's GIREGEN. But I'll put the links on YouTube and Spotify and here in the Facebook comments in a little bit. Well, this has been really cool to hear. And so one more question about the bicarb. High school kids are using it. What's your thoughts on high schoolers? I mean, things like beet juice and red tart cherry and GI regen, calcium lactate, those seem pretty like no dangers in giving to kids. What do you think of or correct me if I'm wrong on that? And what do you think of bicarb and growing kids?
Again, if they don't have any of those precursors of allergies, and then it should be okay. But you're pushing a system by, putting chemistries in it at the same time.
So it's pushing a system. I'm kind of steering away from recommending that or using that with anybody that I know that's
Right.
school age.
And if it's in the summertime, I actually suggest that they use a little bit of electrolytes for their
Electrolytes.
reducing sweat and everything. So bicarb is also a little bit okay, but it's not like you want the super performance. You want to balance off what you're not getting.
Yeah, and then don't want to forget the basics for the runners. Like you got to rest. Like I tell Ben, the will to win is nothing without the will to sleep. Like you got to get your sleep and rest. You got to let the testosterone build back up after breaking it down. So yeah, sorry about that. So well, this has been great, Tom. I really appreciate it, and you can find more from Tom at imtwellnesscenter.com. He's in West Hartford, Connecticut, and also over Zoom. So imtwellnesscenter.com. And let me just pull up his phone number here. And imtwellnesscenter.com. You can reach me at ralphhavens.com. Tom's number is 860-561-2286. And then I'm at ralphhavens.com, 360-599-2217. Reach out to us. And if you have a question about anything related to your health or well-being or performance, let us know. Tom, anything else you want to say? Parting words to...
We're starting the school season, and maybe we talk about the immune system and prepping for all the craziness that's going out there in the world for pre-flu.
I like that idea. So Tom and I do a podcast twice a month, first and third Wednesday of the month. So, and then we're on YouTube and Spotify after we do the live podcast. So Tom, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And thanks for your help before we got on screen. I'm going to go do my homework and get things going. All right.
Have a good day, Ralph.
Have a really good one. Bye, man.